Hi, I'm Ashley, and painting pulled me out of postpartum anxiety and brought me here. Waving at you, holding a painting I never thought I could make. I'm waving again. I was not an artist. I had no training, no time, and honestly, no idea what I was doing, but I'm proof that anyone can paint, and I'm going to show you how I did this and give you an outlet to get out of your head and feel like yourself again. I'm listing all of the materials that you'll need for this painting in the caption. If you're just starting out, buy the cheapest materials you can find, but I would suggest getting a mid-quality paint because there's so much more fun to paint with. I use acrylic, non-toxic, heavy body paints and love the Meeden brand. You'll notice my canvas was yellow before I started painting on it. I like to prime with this orangey yellow color and paint over it because then when you paint, the yellow pops through instead of white. I mix my colors up beforehand and I put them in layers. I apply the initial paints using a palette knife because I like it to be thick and clunky, and putting paint on a canvas with a palette knife just feels so good that if you do literally nothing else from this video, at least buy the materials to do that. I make my way down the canvas, but don't go to the bottom because I know I'll put the foreground there. I'm now using a slightly wet paintbrush to blend the colors together. I start up top and make my way down, blending the darker colors with the lighter ones. Acrylic paint dries quickly, which is perfect because I have like 30 to 60 minute increments typically to paint while my son is napping. This is now a new day, and I started by putting painter's tape where I want the dark foreground to be. I have 2 shades of pink here that I've put on the canvas, and I'm now moving it up the canvas using a wet brush at the top to blend it in with the darker colors that are now dry. The focus of my painting will be the hot air balloon at the horizon, so I take extra time to ensure that the sky here looks visually interesting with some different size strokes. After taking the tape off, I paint the ground the darkest color on the canvas using black and a dark blue, which is the same dark blue I used at the top of the sky. I find that using just black makes the foreground look too flat and I get more dimension blending 2 colors in. I don't use tape on the other side as I paint the foreground because I think the ground looks a bit more realistic if there are some bumps and it's not totally flat. The tape line is there mostly as a guideline and so that I don't paint on a slant where one side is higher than the other. And honestly, the pressure of painting a straight-ish line is really fun because it feels like the stakes are high. And for a stay-at-home mom who can't listen to crime podcasts anymore because everything terrifies me, this is the kind of high stakes I can do. I then use a pencil to draw the main object of the painting. I create the drawing on a notebook paper and then use a tracing method to trace the image onto the canvas. I can't explain why, but painting small objects as a focal point with a large landscape really helps with my anxiety. Painting in general takes me out of my head and into my body, but painting these landscapes just feels so calming to me. I use only black for this focal point and the smallest brush I could find and just hope that my hand doesn't do anything crazy. This is now a new day and the paint is all dry, so I'm going over the foreground one final time with the dark blue to add some highlights to the ground that look like hills when seen in the light. I'm also adding in the people into the hot air balloon and the fire at the base of the balloon. That's the only orange in the painting. I absolutely love adding a tiny source of light into my silhouettes.